Columbia Pike continues its transformation with the new town centre. Find out when we might see streetcars on the Pike. Arlington County planners have brought staff together to think about the long-term future of street infrastructure. 2 Arlington parks have been renovated, but the economy is impacting future projects. Wider sidewalks, underground utilities and better lights are just some of the improvements happening on the Pike. Arlington County Board member Chris Zimmerman addressed the crowd at the Town Centre Transformation Celebration.
Because it really is a transformation, and it's an important step along the way to achieving our vision for a walkable Columbia Pike, a real main street that brings together the neighborhoods and the businesses rather than being a dividing point.
It's part of the overall revitalization plan for Columbia Pike, and it includes undergrounding the utilities, brand new street lights, new walkways, new bus station, new benches.
Why Columbia Pike? Why not revitalise some other part of the county?
Columbia Pike is a major east-west corridor in Arlington. It serves as the main street for a lot of our neighborhoods, and it has historically been a very auto-oriented suburban strip. And this is not only an opportunity to revitalize this transportation corridor, but to really improve the quality of life in the neighborhoods. And then we have the streetcar project, which is a project we're working on cooperatively with Fairfax County to basically run streetcars from Bailey's Crossroads into Pentagon City right here and next to where we're standing.
Everybody wants to know when. When's that going to happen?
We're probably 4 or 5 years out before we would actually be able to board a streetcar from where we're standing and take it either west or east into Pentagon City.
But in these tough economic times, where's the funding coming from?
Fortunately, we do have some local sources. The one thing the General Assembly did that's still in effect is a local commercial surcharge for transportation purposes that the county has taken advantage of. But we asked to combine that with a number of different sources, including some state and federal transportation funds. As I said, on the state side, it's been really drying up. We're hoping on the federal side that gets better with a new transportation funding bill that is being developed.
Why has it taken so long to redevelop Columbia Pike, considering the development in, say, the Roslyn-Ballston corridor?
Well, I think that you see in Arlington a great success story on transit-oriented redevelopment, focusing in on the metro areas and around. And so that's what you see why you have a Roslyn and a Clarendon before Columbia Pike. Also, it's a corridor. It's 3.5 miles long. So when people say, why does it take so long? Well, there's a lot to redevelop. There's a lot to revitalize.
And so we're completing this project now. We've already started on the next one farther west here down at 4 Mile Run, which will make all kinds of improvements over the next several years. It'll take a while, but when we're done, similar to here, you're going to have new sidewalk, better crossings, better lined intersections, a safer environment, and a better place for people to walk and to do business.
1, 2. Arlington County has embarked on an envisioning exercise called Arlington Street Infrastructure for the year 2100. Can they really predict the future?
It's actually not about predicting the future in the year 2100, but rather our goal is to envision a future that reflects our core values: diversity, inclusiveness, attractive places, caring and learning, participation, and sustainability. The forum's main objective is to generate a set of big ideas that will be used to guide future planning initiatives. This kind of big thinking that we're doing is what we would call the inspirational phase of planning, in which staff is given the opportunity to dream about future opportunities for the streets. It's not just the surface of the street, it's what's below the surface, right? All of the utilities and the actual network. And it's about the adjacent buildings and how they interact with one another and the open spaces. And so when we consider these streets, we want to think about not only how we design, but how we program and how we maintain them to create a more enduring sense of place. And these are the connections. This is what really creates a fabric, a strong fabric for our community. The ideas, while they're not expected to take shape immediately, can be weaved into future planning initiatives. Well, one of the results of the forum we found was really interesting was that most people, when presented with an opportunity to talk about an alternative street infrastructure, rather than have a car-oriented, dominated street, you shared the right-of-way more so than today and at present. At the end of the day, we want participants to walk away from the event with a common vocabulary around sustainable street infrastructure. And we want them to continue to think about ways to work together to achieve a common vision rather than working at cross purposes. It's a great time to start planning now, because once we get busy, we won't necessarily have that time. We use this opportunity to start thinking about the future, and then when it gets busy, we can go ahead and begin to implement the great ideas and thoughts that have come out of this visioning exercise.
Park renovations may become rarer in the next few years, but Parkhurst Park in North Arlington and Nina Park in South Arlington have now been completed.
Nina Park is a tot lot, and that means it's for kids between the ages of 3 and 5, and it is basically built on the same dream of the original park. That's what the community wanted. We tried to keep most of the trees. We kept the theme of the boat, because the Nina and the Pinta and the Santa Maria. We kept the sand part for the kids to play in, but if you look at it, it's just much nicer now. It's more up to date, and it's safe. But the cool thing is now kids with disabilities can come into the park and play.
Now, what about Parkhurst? How has that been changed?
Parkhurst Park is amazing. It actually has, I think, something for everybody. It has things for little kids and tots, and then also for elementary age kids. One of the neat things about it too is that even as you're having fun, we're helping the environment. There's the way that we have the water runoff, and water runoff is a problem here in Arlington. It goes through a vegetated swale. A vegetated swale actually helps filter the water. So on a rainy day, hopefully the water will go out and kids will get to play sooner. But what's neat too is there's a pump so the kids can actually play in the rainwater. So look out, parents, they may come home a little dirty. It's actually a pretty long process to have a park, because you just don't build them. You look at them, you talk to the community, you see what you can afford in the budget, and then you start making the plans, then you check with the community, make sure it's what they want. It's a process. It takes a while, I think. And thank goodness it came from a couple years ago. That's actually something that's been cut drastically. In the last budget cycle, we actually dropped our capital maintenance by 93%, from $3.2 million to $200,000. So you're not going to see too many new parks coming up from that area. The other park, though, Parkhurst Park, actually came from a really cool idea, and that's still in place. It was the neighborhood conservation grants, where the neighborhood got together and said, we want a better park, and we want to help the community build it, the county build it. And so they actually applied for a grant within the county. We have to give these out all year long, and anytime a community says, I want a different light post, I want a park bench, I want a different park, they can apply for these grants. They range in size, and of course with the economic times, there won't be so many, but that's how we got this great park.
For more news or to find out more of the stories you've already seen, visit our website at www.arlingtonva.us. Thanks for watching, and join us next time on Newsmakers.